Something with a battery in it. Of course, you already know what's in the description. Going down the power bank journey. See if this one's any good. It should be. We're gonna test it. Already see, proudly made in China. Big one. Big, 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 big. Can you see that? Yeah. Rhenology? I don't know. That kind. 72,000 milliamp hours. 266 watt hours at 3.7 volts. So, yeah. Just one of them things where, you know, they rate the battery. So, you know, being a power bank, you got a booster, so it's stepping up from, you know, 3.7, you know, I mean, you might as well say 2.8 volts to 4.2, so that the boost converter and stuff like that can boost it. And then, of course, this is power delivery and all that other good stuff. It's even got a 12 volt power accessory in it. Wow. So this is a long haul type power bank. So this thing is heavy. High capacity power bank. Awesome. Then we get accessories. We get your typical barrel jacks. Looks like 5.5 by 2.1. You get a wall wart. Wall wart is 20 volts at 2 amps. So that's definitely your charger. So that's cool. And you get a full accessory. Barrel jack connectors for all your different barrel jacks. So whatever your poison is, more than likely it's here. So that's awesome. And that goes with this piggyback. So luckily for me, I don't have that kind. So I don't have a laptop that needs that kind of silliness. So, what does this say? And it writes, capacity 266 watt hours, 72,000 milliamp hours at 3.7 volts. DC for input, 18 to 24 volts, 4 amps. Wow, that's impressive. USB-C. We got your typical DC 5 volts, 9 volts, 12 volts, 15 volts, 20 volts. That's your input. All at 3 amps. That's impressive. Output. 12 volts, 5 amps. 16.5 volts at 4 amps, 20 volts at 3.5, 24 volts at 2 amps. Cigarette lighter, cigar lighter, power port. 12 volts at 15 amps. USB-A. We got your typical 5 volts, 4.5 volts. That's kind of an oddball one. Your 9 volts and 12 volts. So 4.5 amps for both your 4.5 for your 5 volts and your 4.5 volts. So it's a little confusing. 9 volts, you get 2 amps, and 12 volts at 1.5 amps. USB-C output. There's 2 USB-C ports. You got your typical DC 5, 9, 12, 15, 20. And they're all rated at 3 amps. Or 60 watts per port. And it's going to be power delivery. And then pretty much this a little bit less for the second USB port. So DC 5, 3 amps, 9 volts at 2, 12 volts at 2.25. And then you got your PPS 3.3 through 11 volts at 3 amps, 27 watts max. Wireless charging. I like that. That's for your Qi charging devices or charging pad type devices. As far as I know, it will only charge your phones. It will not charge your low input like your earbuds and your watches. So just for you to be aware of that. And the size is 9 inches by 4.9 inches by 1.7 inches. And the weight is 3.3 pounds. So it's a hefty power bank. Charging the power bank. Charge the power bank via a two-way DC port using the included 40-watt AC adapter. Charge the power bank via two-way USB-C port using a USB-C to USB-C cable not included. DC input via solar panels. This can be charged by solar panels because it is a one of them fancy green type charger power banks. So if you got 80 watts of solar input, it will take about 3 to 4 hours to charge. Your typical USB-C input at 60 watts will take 5 to 6 hours. Note, the USB-C number 1 port and the DC port cannot be used simultaneously. This power bank can be recharged by 100-watt solar panels. Please purchase necessary adapters, connectors separately. Blah, blah, blah. Then we got our battery indicators. Tells you all about the cigarette lighter port. So you can power anything that's under 150 watts. And of course, your normal everyday use for your USB A and C ports. And then your wireless charging. Of course, you got to activate it. Short press of the power button to turn on the power bank and initiate the wireless charging feature. The green indicator will light up, and then please place compatible devices on the charging pad for wireless charging. Note, the wireless charging does not support AirPods via the wireless charging case, AirPods Pro, Apple Watch, and other low-power devices. The green indicator stays lit during wireless charging. When the devices are taken away from the charging pad, the green indicator will turn off in a minute. Charging laptops. The power bank is not able to charge laptops that are rated over 23 volts. Do not choose 24 volts as a charging voltage when you're going to charge your laptop with this power bank. And of course, it's got all your other specifications here. It does have an LED flashlight. And of course, you can go through the maintenance and the rest of the instructions here if you do choose to buy one of these. So, and then we got all the Chinese. So that's pretty cool. So I found this thing by watching another YouTube channel. The guy is going to go out camping, and he needs a CPAP machine. So it's a little hard to do when you're, out camping. So luckily, somebody made this thing, which is, it's more intended for your CPAP users, but since it has all the plethora of USB-A and USB-C ports, it's also a handy camping power bank. Because God forbid you went out camping and you didn't have your iPhone. So it's all shiny, new in its little plastic case. And it comes with a very nice carrying case. Look at that. You can even strap it to your belt if you wanted to. It's got a belt slot where you can attach it somehow to your backpack or something with a strap on it. It's got a little pocket in here for probably adapters and whatever, or whatever specialty needs you need. So this is, like I said, it's a heavy-duty power bank. So if you need one, then you need one, and you might as well get the best you can get. And I hope this is the best you can get. So it's got all the little ports in here. Your USB A, your USB C's, and your barrel jack, and your power port, your 12-volt power port for your CPAP machine. Pretty cool. And this there's like a little round thing here. That's your wireless target spot. And then you got your light on this end if you need to be. So that's pretty awesome. So let's see. I gotta see what the buttons do. Okay, let's see. Of course, I already showed you the LED flashlight, wireless charging pad, and then let's see. I gotta look at it like the picture. So USB C port, USB A port, another USB C port. So the ones on this side is for output only. So your USB C and your USB A, that's for out only. And then you got USB C in and out, and then your barrel jack in and out, and of course your 12 volts. And then the first button, this is your power button. And there's a bunch of lights in here. There's a bigger LED light in here. That's your wireless charging indicator. So that's awesome. And then your the rest of your there's actually 8 of them, and there's a little separator here. So your first 4 are your battery indicators. So that would be on this side of the power bank, and then on this side of the power bank is also your DC voltage switch, and then your DC voltage indicators. So first thing we'll do is let's power this up, and my little wireless charger light is on. So let's see if it charges your typical everyday iPhone, and it does. And of course right now it's half charged, so I'll take that off for a second, and we'll let this go back to sleep there, and I'll show you what it does. So your of course, I got a regular charging pad, and it doesn't show this particular graph. It just shows you that it's charging. But when you put it on here, it gives you that, which for me, I never seen that before. Because on my other charging pad, it just shows you that it's charging, and then your percentage if it's charging or not. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Because when it's on the other charging pad, it just gives you the top battery, and then your percentage if it's green if it's charging, and cool stuff like that. So now that we know that the wireless charging works for your crapple iPhones, so that's awesome. So let's try something else on here. We'll double click the power button here to get the light to turn on. So there we go. So that's full brightness, and if you click it again, then it goes down to low, high and low, high, low, high, low. Then you double click it to turn it on off. So that's pretty cool. Let's see here. What else can we play with here? Let's throw a meter in, and then we'll see what it's got for voltage out here. So we got your typical USB-C meter. We'll stick that in the output port, and we'll power it up and see what it does. Of course, this one might need a load for the for that to activate, which is typical for some of these USB-C meters. You need to have a load for them to fire up. Same thing with that one. So we'll get a load, a DC load, dummy load. So I have to get it out anyway, because after I'm done charging this fully, we're going to see what the capacity is. And of course, if you watch my other videos on power bank mayhem, that, you know, I got an electronic load to see who's telling the truth and who's lying. And of course, with a lot of stuff on Amazon, like your typical Chinese power banks, they're nowhere near the rating that they're specified at. Like this one is 26,800 milliamp hours. Hell no. So whatever brand this one is, it's nowhere. I know it's nowhere near 26,000 milliamp hours. Doesn't even come close. Because I did other reviews on the like Duracells and stuff like that. Unfortunately, it's not, you know, PD power or anything like that. It's just your regular everyday power bank. So we'll find a cord here. USB-C to USB-C. And I need more power to fire up the meter. So we'll have a plethora of wires running around all over the place. Because I still got not enough load to make it happy. And since that the power bank is not technically on, the dummy load is not happy either. So we'll have to find, let's see, how about if we try plugging this in? Did we get anything? Now we got power up. So So right now I'm charging at the PD power rate, and it's at 8.9 volts, and it's charging at 1.9 amps. So we know that works. Let's try the other USB-C port. So now it's reversed. So right now this power bank is actually charging this power bank. And I'm charging at 11.96 volts at 1.4 amps. So sometimes you can click these things or double click these things to get them to go the other way. So so that's pretty cool. So at least the charging and discharging can work by power delivery and all that other good stuff. So now I'm going to get my Anchor 65 watt charger out, and we'll goose it to see if it does go up to 20 volts. Are you going to wake up? I know it's charging. There you go. So we're at 19 volts at 2.7 amps. So it's definitely, of course you never even ever see that, I don't think. Nah. 19 volts. So that's awesome. So I will go ahead and finish charging this, because it's going to take several hours to charge this sucker up. And then I will somehow, in some way, shape, or form, try to get the electronic load to discharge this. And I'm not looking for that, full discharge of 72,000 milliamp hours. I'm looking, anywhere, close to it. Not, grossly under. If it said 20,000 milliamp hours, they'd be like, yeah, bye, shoo, shoo, shoo. But this thing comes in at 60,000. That's acceptable, or even higher. It's acceptable, because, like I said, this thing is more intended to be for the guys that want to go out camping and they got to have their CPAP machine and stuff like that, because they need 12 volts. If they need to go out and be away from your commercial power. So this, and from the one channel that I seen this on, his CPAP machine, I forget what the ratings were, how many watt hours or amps that a thing takes, but he says I might get like 3 days out of the power bank, and he says he went past 3 days and it kept going. So don't know. Of course, your usage will vary, because you don't know. You never know what you're going to use with it, what you're going to charge and stuff like that. Whether it's going to be your iPhone or your phablets or your tablets or your laptops. That will charge in the specifications of this thing. So, if you drain them down all the way and it's 50,000 or something like that, milliamp hour portable or something like that, yeah, you're only going to get a charger and a half or something like that. So there'll be another little segment to this video. So we'll see you then for the final results and whether I keep it or not. So stay tuned. So time has passed for the Rhinology backup power supply. As you can see, it's already recharging. So the results are in. So time has elapsed, as in 52 hours. 52 hours later, and my discharge rate was 1 amp for 5 volts. And the results are 52,000 milliamp hours. That's pretty good. But you're going to say, yeah, but the power bank's a 72,000 milliamp hour battery pack, and it comes coming in at 52,000. Let's just say the boost converter is 80% efficient. So that's 20%. So add 20%, you get your full 72,000 milliamp hours. So excellent backup power bank. So I'm happy, and it's gonna stay because it's so cool. Yeah, it's huge, but guess what? Something might happen someday where you might need backup power supply for extended periods, or maybe you want to put it somewhere where you don't want to deal with wall warts and stuff like that. Keep it in the vehicle, or if you're a camper, you keep it in your camper, and instead of mooching off your power supply off your camper, or you're out in the willies. Of course, you ain't gonna have any of that kind of stuff. Keep this around. It's 3 pounds, a little heavy, but 52 hours, so that's 24, 48. 2 days of backup power. A little over 2 days of power if you have stuff that charges at an amp or so. So, of course, like I mentioned, with all the details of this thing, it has wireless charging for your phones and stuff like that. I don't think it's good enough for the charging iWatches or anything like that. No. Too small, because it draws such a little current. It won't draw. Of course, it may not play nice when it's charging. So we'll unplug it for a minute. And that's one thing I just recently discovered not too long ago when I was playing with this thing. We'll try the watch again. So that's confirmed. It won't charge your Apple Watches, and on the same basis, it won't charge your AirPods or anything like that. All your small scale wireless stuff, it's too small because it doesn't draw enough amperage to pull it out of its hibernation. So one thing I just recently discovered, because I was playing around with the buttons. Of course, if you double click, you get your your little area light, and then it's high, low, and off. But if you push and hold the power button, you get red for your nighttime viewing. So I don't know if that was documented it or not. I just happened to discover it. So that's pretty cool. So, like I said, this is a backup power supply. Was designed for the use of people who have CPAP machines. So it's got the 12 volt power port, cigarette lighter adapter, where you can just power in, so you can power anything, whatever amount of watts. I think it was 150 watts or something like that. So, you probably can even use this for some of your China Pride air pumps and stuff like that. I don't know if an air pump, they kind of have a tendency to draw a little bit too much current through a cigarette plug, so I don't know if I would use an air pump on this, but if you're desperate, as long as you don't run it too long, I guess it would be all right. I guess hopefully that this thing has all kinds of thermal safeties in it, all that stuff, it wouldn't overload. So you got all your barrel jacks for your charging, and one thing I didn't mention is when you are using your barrel jack, and you can use the button here to set your voltage. So you got 4 different voltages here when you do have your output ready to go and powered up. You got 12, 16.5, 20, and 24 volts. So you can power up and then select your voltage before you plug in. So that's the only other, and that's documented in the instruction manual. So if you're looking for a good backup power supply, or if you're a CPAP user and you want to go camping and have a backup, because you never know. If you need backup, this is a good product to have around. So I give it a thumbs up. So I would recommend this for other people, even if they need an outrageous sized power bank. I do have a couple of others coming, name brand power banks, because I went down the road of the Amazon scam. These cheap Chinese power banks, and they don't come up even close to what their ratings are. Like, this is the Con Wexan, so it didn't come any. It's supposed to be a 28,000 milliamp hour battery pack, and it didn't even come close to, not even with the let's say if it was even 80% efficient, didn't even come close. So more than likely, I'm probably not going to do any more of them China Pride, Amazon scam power banks that you can get for dirt cheap, because that's exactly what they are, is dirt cheap. So I got 2 more brand name power banks coming. So when they come, we'll check them out, see if they're up to stuff. So stay tuned, and if you haven't already done so, leave a comment, like, subscribe. I like to get the channel up to 1,000 subscribers, so the channel can buy some of this stuff, so I don't have to buy it all, even though I don't mind buying it, because I can have a good review or a bad review, and tell if a product sucks or if it doesn't suck. Like this, it doesn't suck. It has everything you need, and it's awesome, and it's actually comes mathematically where it needs to be. So stay tuned. We'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.